What's going on, everybody? McAnthony really coming at you with a Rise of Civilizations video. If you're here, I'm assuming you've probably played the game. If you have not, it is free on the App Store and in the Google Play Store. It is a wonderfully designed game. The developers are constantly working on it, as this video will show you, seeing as how just last night we released a new patch. And that patch is patch update 1.0.11, and that is Talent Tree 2.0. So this is a massive change. It completely redid the entire structure of what the talents were before. Anybody who came on this morning's found all their talents reset on all their commanders. Their power dropped. For some people was oh crap, I got to get my power back up because I can't have this right now. But once you got your talents set up, it's a pretty good system. There's some things that I could see some improvement for, but overall they definitely made some big changes, and I think it's a step in the right direction. Along with this update came some big changes for alliances and for making it easier for them to manage for the rank 4s and the leaders. Unfortunately, I don't have access to that. I'm not that high ranking in my alliance, but that's fine. That's not what this video is about. We are here to talk about this talent tree update. So they felt that there were shortcomings with the existing talent tree, which, there wasn't distinction between commanders, but there was a way for us that anybody who's been playing for a while, we kind of worked that talent tree to what we needed it to do. And it was nice because it really gave you some flexibility with commanders. You can make some commanders that weren't geared to do certain things, do things pretty well. It gave you a flexibility. My biggest takeaway from this is action point cost reduction and march speed. Those aren't available for every unit, which I will touch on that later. And they're not as good as they were. I believe now the action point reduction is, you cannot get it as low as before. I believe it has been the minimum, excuse me, my words are getting jumbled here. So basically it's now you only get 4 action points more you have to spend. So you can't get that as big of a reduction as before. And that's definitely a big drawback, especially on events like yesterday where we were doing the Barbarian event for Mightiest Governor. That really makes it difficult for us because that adds up over time. And I think that's a drawback, but I guess that's a cost we have to pay. We'll see how that balances out in the future. But for now, let's just jump right into it. Let's get over everything. So the biggest thing, all commanders now have 3 classes. You have your red class, your yellow class, your blue class. This comprises your talent tree. So just going to use Scipio as our first example here. I'm going to give you guys all of the classes in just a minute, but I just really want to get into this first part just to give you guys a quick overview, a quick look at what changed, and then we'll dive into it and really break things down. Disclaimer before I open this talent tree, please, please, please do not use my talent tree in this video specifically as your maximized build. I have not gotten my talent resets yet that were supposed to come with the compensation mail. So at this moment in time, I have only just basically thrown talents onto Scipio and I just wanted my power back and to see what the talents really were. There's definitely some big changes in there, some great things, but basically, like I said, don't take what I have in here right now as the end all be all, because if you do that, it's probably not going to end too well, and I don't want you coming back being mad at me. So let's jump into it. So this is your new talent tree. And as you can see, the red, yellow, blue is there. Your 3 talent tree parts. So that's just the overall view of it. It's definitely a little different. That's a little interesting. I'm wondering if that's a little bit more smooth on iPads and tablets. I'm using an iPhone X, or iPhone 10, excuse me, for all you Apple purists. Anywho, but yeah, it's definitely, it's much different. It's much more simplified. We'll take a deep dive into it in a second, but let's go over the classes here, because this is definitely where a big change came in. So every commander, like I said, now has 3 classes for them. And this is obviously, like I said, your red, your yellow, and your blue category. And from what I'm really kind of gathering, I'm basing off of my own interpretation. I really have to look deeper into the forums to get a better understanding of what the actual categories are. I'm just going to call them by their color, because that is just the most basic way to identify them. So your red is generally for your buffs for your troops. So you have leader, balance, cavalry, infantry, and archer. So leader, cavalry, infantry, and archer, that's all fairly straightforward. Leader was always there with Scipio and commanders like Caesar, Frederick, anybody who's good for big armies. They give big buffs. They're great for rallied armies, things like that. Then cavalry, infantry, archer, obviously those are as straightforward as they come. Great buffs and geared towards those specific types of troops in their command. Balance is an interesting one. I'm actually going to switch to Boudica because she is one. And that is, they're good at defending garrisons in cities, passes, and holy sites. So this is basically, these are the commanders you want to have hold up somewhere when somebody's coming to try and burn your flag. These are the commanders that you want being in charge of those flags, which I believe now you can actually change out when you're reinforcing a flag. You can actually change out the lead commander. So that's actually definitely a positive change. So that really covers the red ones. You know, those are straightforward. We'll just jump into the yellow categories. Let's go back to Scipio. So yellow categories are generally ones that you guys are all familiar with. Siege, jungler, gathering. And then there's the two new ones, which is general and city defense. City defense is as straightforward as it sounds. They are good at defending your city. So it's like it's a secondary class, I guess. So, you know, red is your primary, yellow is your secondary, blue is your, I guess it would be more your passive in, you know, MMO terms. But looking at the yellow one, siege is straightforward. You know, Scipio is great at leading siege troops. He's great at attacking cities, passes, holy sites. You know, Boudica, Minamoto, they're all good for being jungler. You know, they're great at dealing with barbarians and passive troops. Let's see. Looking at Sun Tzu, he is great at city defense, you know. So this is like easier. You don't have anybody else, you know, your Boudica's busy doing something. You can slap this guy in your garrison in your city, and he's going to do pretty good. He's not going to be the best, but it's better than nothing. He's tailored towards it, and his talent tree is tailored towards it. Gathering, yeah, obviously straightforward. Now, the one that's really interesting, and the one that I'm kind of wondering on, and this, I guess, could be one of your more negative sides if you take away from this video, is that I don't feel that this was done well, and this is the general category. And this commander can limit the enemy's fighting capability. Cool. Okay, so, you know, I'm thinking this is kind of like a replacement for Disabler in a way. But once you look at the talents for it, it's a very interesting and kind of slapped together class. So this is going to be the first real deep dive into the talents, and then we'll kind of touch back over everything. I'm not really going to deep dive into everything today, you know. I just want to give a brief overview of my first impressions of the update, everything like that. But, you know, I really do want to deep dive into general because I feel like this is important for the first impression part of it. So you come into here, you know, you have your general class. Your first thing you have to do is to unlock any of this tree is your attack buff. Okay, I understand. Health buff makes some sense. Now here's where it kind of goes down a path that's kind of odd, if you will. So, superior tools. You have increased gathering speed of troops. Starts off 3%, stacks 3 each time to 9 at maximum. And then once you increase the gathering speed of all your troops, you're then back to increasing the attack and march speed of your troops. And then additional 2 rage if it's a garrison commander. And then garrison attack. And then down here, it's, you know, action point reduction and watchtower attack and damage defense and garrisons. So it's really, it doesn't make a lot of sense. For me, you know, when you're building a talent tree, I don't understand why I need to go from building health to gathering speed to then increasing the attack of my units. That doesn't seem like those fit. I feel like I feel like there could have been another class that could have better fit there than this one. That's my takeaway. That's my real big drawback, is I just felt like this one, they just kind of were just like, meh. And that's what happened, is they just kind of gave everything. I think that one needs some rethinking. You know, I wish that there was some more action point reductions, but, you know, it is what it is. We'll call it good on that, and we'll see where it goes from here. I know they're doing server maintenance at the end of today. That's why I want to get this video out, get these initial impressions out. Hopefully we'll see some tweaks and changes. Hopefully I will see my mail soon so I can reset. But let's just jump back into it, and let's get into the blue category. So this is your third category. Now this is comprised of attack, support, nuke, defense, and mobility. So Obviously, a lot of these are pretty straightforward. We'll dive into a little bit of the talents in a minute here, especially on mobility because that's pretty new. Nuke is a little bit interesting. They changed it, so I'm going to actually look at that as well. But defense support. So defense is really, it's as simple as it sounds. It gives basically keeping troops alive, giving better defense ratings. Where is somebody who is good with defense, just so we can get the official defense? Charles Martel. So, it's straightforward. This commander is good at defense. This commander basically has, some reductions for damage and everything like that. Nuke, straightforward. It's just like before. Big damage specs. Gotta love it. Support is your healing class, obviously, your Cleopatras, your Joan of Arcs. I really haven't played around with it too much, but they did do a good job, I feel, on the support end of things. Right off the bat, you've got march speed increases, and then attack and defense buffs, followed up by additional rage, so you can pop healing specs quicker. You've got departure from structures, so if your structure gets wrecked and you're bailing out, anything like that, you're getting away from anybody quicker. Healing effects, you can stack up to 9%, reduces skill damage taken, and then it really, once they're healed, their attack increases. This is a very, very good tree that they did, I think. And I think that they were on the right path here. So overall, their gathering tree, the balance tree, everything except for that general tree I really like. And then this final one that's new is, let's look at Lancelot. So basically, this commander is very flexible on the battlefield. Mobility. Basically, these are your troops that are your commanders that have your march speed buffs more readily available and can actually get a decent stack of them. Some of them are only getting like 9% now based on your talent builds from just first impressions, but that's down from when we were getting 40 to 50% march speed boost before from gearing certain talent or gearing certain commanders for speed gathering, things like that. So, it definitely has some drawbacks, but overall, I think they did a pretty nice job with it. Let me gather all my stuff here. I think they did a nice job with it. Couple takeaways, when you log in, you're going to have your power reduced because your talents aren't assigned as you go. Actually, you do get a slight power increase. For me, I'd sunk down to I think 721 and then ended up bouncing up to 41. So I think I got a 10K power boost in the end from that relatively small. I mean, it's especially when you're at a lower level, you're not going to see very close to that, but it's going to be a small scale boost in general. Overall, I think we're on a good path with this update. I'm curious to see how it plays out. The other big things to take away is they did increase the health and attack of barbarians and barbarian forts. That's just to compensate for the new update and changes in power from the talent tree changes. So just keep that in mind when you're attacking today. Your commanders may feel a little weaker, but they may not be. It may be they're up against a stronger opponent. So just keep that in mind. Enjoy playing. If you guys enjoyed this video, please slap the like button and leave me a comment below on anything that you feel I didn't touch on. If you didn't like this video, I'm going to be that YouTuber that tells you, slap the dislike button. Leave me a comment. Tell me what I can do better. I am a first-time YouTuber. I am just getting a start on this. If there's anything that I can do better to make these videos best for you guys, tell me. I want to hear it. So please leave the comments, slap the like, hit subscribe for more of these videos. We'll be back later on today, hopefully with the next part of this once we can start diving in and actually building talent trees. But for now, I just want to take a quick look, go over the update, and that's that. So thank you for watching, and I will see you all soon.